Thanks, team. Awesome. So today I'm super, super excited to welcome Julie Wilson. And Julie works above the 3D, goes much deeper than the kind of like basic level than what you've been used to hearing about, yeah, about spirituality. Hey, Julie. Firstly, should we start by just introducing you, Julie, what you do and who you are and how you got on your path?
Sure. So happy to be here. So, my healing journey started several years ago. My body was breaking down. It was kind of one of those things where your body starts screaming at you, and you're like, okay, I need to do something different because what I'm trying to do isn't working. And so
Mm.
I ended up finding an energy healer. I didn't know much about energy work, didn't know much about, I knew the basics of Buddhism and self help and meditation and some of those, some of the basic things. But I did one session and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like what I'm here to do. This is amazing. I want to know everything I can know about it." And so I started learning modalities, Akashic records, DNA activation, started really tapping in with my higher self and my multidimensional aspects and learning, things I had done in other lifetimes or other versions of me. And I work with people now, so I help them connect with their higher selves and aspects. I work with in the DNA etherically to help heal and restore. I do Akashic type healings, contract work. So I kind of, a session with me is kind of like, we go into everything that we need to go into. So anything that comes up, kind of just go there. Um, so and I wanted to have a child and I couldn't get pregnant. So that was really also the big, my body was breaking down, yes, but I was like, I had to understand because my daughter was coming to me before she was here. And so I was like, I know I'm meant to be a mom, so why can't this just work easy like it is for everyone else? So that was more of the emotional piece of my journey, that quest to have this child that's coming to you that you're meant to have, and you can't in the it's just not happening in the physical. And so, through that journey, I just really kind of came back to myself. I shut my gifts down at 16. So I was kind of like, I got into meditation one day and I went to really deep into the void, it scared me and I didn't have anyone to tell me that's normal. You're just going deeper into meditation. I lost time and I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. So down, unfortunately. And so I'm also kind of on this quest to make sure our kids never shut down their intuition, that we're
Mm.
talking about their intuition and their nervous system and how to help them, navigate emotions and energy so that nobody ever has to shut it down and then try to find their way back. Because it's much easier if you just have it open the whole time and you don't have to like work to try to open things back up. But
Oh,
yeah, so
yeah.
that's a little about me.
Ah, that's so beautiful. I love that. There's so many beings around us as well at the moment, just like listening in. I love that. They're like, yay! I love that. What are the kind of things that you're seeing at the moment coming up with your clients? Like, what are the kind of type of issues that you're seeing, or maybe things that you're working on? Are there any patterns that you're seeing at the moment?
So lots of patterns with a lot of people who are here to do really big mission work, really here to step into changing the spiritual community, stepping into bigger roles that are kind of stuck or like they're not finding their way, to create the containers or the spaces or the healing that they're meant to do here. Like they're not here to replicate or mimic anything out there. They're here with, the dragons and, the galactic teams and information that's not here yet. And they're here to bring that, like bring the next layer, help us really like shift out of the 3D. And I see it time and time again where people kind of just get stuck on, keep going because maybe, things don't sell or maybe they're new and they're, it's that beginning journey. And so it's almost like something stops them. I think fear, past life, persecutions, a lot of the things
Mm.
I try to work through kind of stop them. So I'm really on a mission to help people, step into who they are and understand that these things are normal and it's never gonna, you're never gonna feel ready. Like you kind of just have to do it. You kind of just have to keep going and keep, sharing and keep showing up as yourself because it's you as the more you show up as yourself and share, what's on your heart, the more information will come in, the more clarity you'll get to that information, and the more pieces you'll find of yourself. The more healing will just happen, because you'll things will come in and you'll remember them and you'll be able to heal them. I feel like
Mm.
it always waves. I feel like I get a chunk of from then new information comes in. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of this ebb and flow.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think you're right. I think there's a lot of I was speaking about this actually with another guest today, and I think there's a lot of pillars and like old ways and old rules of doing things in our community, the spiritual niche. It's difficult aligning myself to a niche sometimes because I'm like, I don't really want to box myself in, but there's a lot of like bullshit that goes on right in the industry about you need to do it this way or it's not going to work. And like it's a reminding people that you are here to break through these pillars and this bullshit, and you're here to create the new. So like you're not gonna find what you're looking for external to you. You're not gonna find the way. You're gonna have to make the way. And I think it's like you say, reiterating to people that you're gonna have to create that for yourself most of the time, you know.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And the people who are here to lead right now, like you said, there's no roadmap, because you're not going to do it the way it's not built here, the way it's supposed, like you're meant to do it. So you really have to trust yourself. You really have to, I think, seek out more advanced spiritual practices, really dive into your own information stream, understand it, understand how to dig deeper. My One of my favorite mentors always would push me and say, okay, so like ask more questions and give me more information. So every time I'd be like, okay, I got all of this, and I'm like, I'm done. He's like, nope, dive in and get more. And so it's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, we are infinite beings, right? So the work is infinite as well. And I think people give up too easily because of the way that it's sold online. People sell it that it's all going to be easy, and it does get to be easy at times, but there's still stuff to learn and grow through. And I think that's a lot of the bullshit that I like to cut through. Like it does get to be easy, but you're gonna have some stuff to go through to do this. And you're still gonna have some stuff to go through to do this. Expansion is a beautiful thing, but it comes with responsibility.
Responsibility, exactly. That's the perfect word. And I feel like it's harder in the beginning, and then you get really good at shifting through that stuff. But you have to go through the harder chunks and understand, what densities in your body, what you're holding on to, what traumas you're carrying. I see it a lot where people react or have triggers to things, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the person that triggered them. Like zero. It's about something they're carrying. And if you can get good at your awareness and see that and be like, I'm really reacting to this, but what is this? What is it? Where's it coming from? Then you sometimes arguments would never even happen, because someone would realize the word that person said that triggered them isn't even meant. It's not registering the way it was meant to register. The person was really not meaning to, for it to go as far as it went. I see that all the time too, and I'm always just like, oh my gosh, we react sometimes so much from things that are not even here. you know
Mm.
it'd just be a much happier world if everybody could understand that, there's past life stuff that's affecting you now. Just like, lean in and see, where is this really coming from?
Yeah. And I think I mean, our kind of work looking at other timelines is I would say fairly newish to the spiritual world. I think people are starting to grasp on about like soul origins and different aspects and multidimensional and cosmic and all that stuff. But it's still very much new, isn't it? And at the moment it feels like we're here to educate and lead and really be the ones that say, look, listen, spirituality, it's not just about meditation. It's not just about this surface level stuff. It's not just about doing yoga. It's not just about using affirmations. You've got to go deep. You
You
got to go
do.
deep.
You really do. Yeah, and I feel like when you can see it though. I know with my daughter, when she was 3, she had a past life where she drowned, and she was terrified of putting her head under the water. And
Mm,
so see those types of things and you clear the past life and she's fine. She's like bebopping under the water at swimming lessons. And like, it's like, you're like, that was fast. That really cleared fast. There's something to this. So I feel like, yeah, we do have to go deeper. And a lot of people are just talking about, you can manifest your dreams if you do these, couple little things. It's like, there's so much more to it than
Yeah.
that. It's like there's a very basic manifestation practices and stuff like that, but if you really want to get to your dream life and your joy, it's not going to be super simple. Like, you're not just going to snap your fingers and everything's going to clear from lifetimes. It's a little bit of work, but if you incorporate some inner child fun and
Mm,
you get you bring in the fun stuff and you connect with your aspects, who could be dragons, who could be baby dragons, who could be fairies, then you're like, okay, I need a break from the heavy lifting. We're going to go play in the astral and I'm going to go on a little journey. And then it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be awful, but
mm,
it is a little bit of work. If it were easy, super easy, everyone would do it. And we know everyone's not doing it. So, it's
mm.
definitely a balance, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so. It is super rewarding when you know what you're doing, right? But there is a process to getting everything. And the other thing that I find, I don't know if you see this in your work, is that because of like these simple tactics that people put out around manifestation and resources like The Secret, I'm not here to judge or say that they're crap, but they give the impression that, like you say, you just wave the magic wand, you say a few chants, you meditate on it, you put it out to the universe, and it just happens. But what I see is people really, truly, 100% believe in that stuff. And then they forget to take the fucking action or integrate or embody. And I'm like, you can't, like Jim Carrey said when he manifested the major role in Dumb and Dumber, he said, you can't just lie on a sofa and eat a sandwich and expect it to happen. And I think a lot of people are still in that density. I don't know if you see that as well,
I
Julie, in your work.
Yes, I do. It's funny that you said action steps too, because I say that all the time. I'm like, if you really want to anchor it in, you're going to have to get uncomfortable and do the actions. Universe is going to ask you. You're going to get challenged. You're going to have, something try to stop you or a roadblock to see if you're really serious. And a lot of people, those roadblocks happen and they're, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you weren't serious. So it's like, then
Yeah.
you're like, happen, and like, because it's not just thought, it's not just your thoughts, it's like really the action step, the anchoring into the reality, the really meaning what you're saying. So
Mhm.
I 100% agree with that. I say that all the time, and I do see that a lot in my work. There are a lot of people who are really committed and they are doing it, and it's still not manifesting because there's still things that kind of need to be worked through. But it's hard to explain, you know what I mean? Because there's so many things out there that are like that. You just meditate and sit on the couch and think about happy thoughts and the world will be happy.
Yeah.
That's not working. So there's more to it than
Well, I don't know. To be honest, there are a lot of people still out there that believe that The Secret is a real thing. I mean, I know I did like 8 years ago when I came across it. It was like the first little piece of me going, "Oh God, okay, that makes a bit of sense," And now I just look back and think, "Oh God, I'm so glad I didn't get sucked into thinking that that was the one be all and end all, because but there are still people relying on these things, these easy things to make everything effortless. And it's like, yeah, it can be effortless, but you got to put in a bit of action as well. You can't-
yeah. Yeah, and I feel like it's a starting point. Like, it's good to have those little pieces for a starting point, but I feel like it's like we also need, to know how to keep, if you want to keep expanding, keep going, keep digging, keep looking at yourself, keep doing, the things that may not feel super fun to do all the time. And then also keep playing and enjoy life, because I feel like too sometimes people, it's like one extreme or the other. It's like you'll be on the spiritual journey. It's like, oh, it's got to be this dark night of the soul, and you see all the memes where people are like, you're crying and oh my gosh, it's this horrible event. And it's like, but life is supposed to be fun too. Like, we're not just supposed to be here, doing, all this heavy lifting. It's supposed to be an ebb and flow. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves. So
Yeah, experience, surrender, joy. I think people think that we're meant to come to this earth and we're meant to slog away, even when you're in the spiritual realm, right? And then you're not meant to charge for your services. You're meant to give it all away for free. And you're meant to be really miserable. And I'm like, that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah, have lessons and things to grow through. But they want you to have a really fucking good time here. Like they want you to be truly abundant. Like there are no limits in the cosmos, are there? Like if you ever access your cosmic bank in the cosmos, it's like there are no numbers. It's infinite. But
Yeah.
3D for some reason, people I don't know. Also another thing my team want to just explore with you is like this badge of pain that people seem to like to wear in 3D, that it's got to be painful to do the work, that they've got to actually, do a lot of hustling, or the trauma work is going to have to be really painful. And I don't know what you see in your work, but I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
So I feel like there's levels to that, and it can be like a lot of tears. I'm one of those, I like to plow through stuff when I find it because I'm excited because I knew a new level is going to unlock. So I always look at it as a positive. I'm like, okay, I found this thing I need to work through. If it's tears, it's tears. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just, meditation, clearing stuff out. Even past lives where I've been killed, sometimes I'm just like, okay, I can go in there, you can clear it out, and you're not like super attached to it. So I feel like don't attach to what's flowing through you. It's just energy. It's all just
Mm,
energy. Look at that. And okay, it may bring up tears. I may need to move or dance. Like sometimes processing can be turn the music on and like get your body moving. It's like, or an inner child adventure, or like just some somatic slow moving work, nervous system work. It's like it can look like a lot of things that I feel like people are, don't understand. It doesn't have to be super hard and scary, but for me, I embrace, and I like when I find something that's harder, because then it's like this, and I wish I could show people what's going to happen after you move through it, because it's like
mm,
all of a sudden the downloads come in. I feel like my crown opens up, my heart chakra opens up. I call it my love bubble. I'm like, I am in this like super fun, happy, expansive state, like a little kid running around on the playground, like, okay, what do I get to explore now? So I'm like, that's the goal. That's what we're supposed to live as, and not to be in a cheesy way, but like seriously, like we're supposed to be, happy, abundant, like you said, abundant beings who aren't like hustling, aren't trying to grind, aren't, you know what I mean? We're just, things are just coming to us because we're a match for that, energetic frequency. You talked about timelines. I always say that too. I'm like, so what's in your way on your best and highest timeline, and how do you get there?
yeah.
Because once you're there, you can ebb and flow and shift down because you're processing something and bounce right back up. And everything that you're wanting is gonna, you're gonna get it because it's a match for what you're putting out there, and you're coming from an authentic space. I feel like authenticity is like the key to unlocking the kingdom, because if you're in your authentic space operating with your spirit team, with your higher self, there is nothing that's going to stop you.
Yeah, definitely. And my team just want to add on that. I call it my rainbow bubble as well. So something similar to you. I love rainbows. I've got an aspect of myself which is Archangel Raphael. So we like jam on rainbows here. But anyways, I went off a tangent then. But they also said like releasing yourself from the expectation of receiving the end goal is really powerful as well. I think what a lot of people do in business is they get like hung up on that end goal, the money usually, and yeah, money is a beautiful tool. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute because I think it's a good point to pull out. But they get so hung up on the sale or on the end goal. And you're like, that for me isn't the end goal. The end goal for me always is the transformation, the story. Like I'm obsessed about sharing people's stories, even if they're like just tiny little things. I'm like, oh my God, this is epic. My client did this, they couldn't do that before. And I think people get hung up on the wrong things and create resistance around the thing it is they want the most. And I don't know if you see that in your work, like people are just creating so much resistance around stuff.
I do see it. I see it a lot. And I'm like you. The transformations are what light me up. Like watching someone go from like this place to, this higher frequency. And then like you can see their faith light up sometimes. And their
Mm,
whole day, as you're working with them, completely changes. And so those are the moments that I get super excited about. And I operate from that standpoint. So if I'm sharing something, I just created a dragon healing group. It's going to be like a group, once a month group meditations, group healings, some things like that. And I'm so excited to share it that the thought of is anybody going to sign up or going to buy it never even like really hit me. I was just so excited. The dragons were coming in, new ones for February, March, like all of these energies were already coming ready for like to keep us going for this like little year long process. And so it's like I feel like, that excitement for who's going to sign up, who's going to join, what's going to change, it like trumps, okay, where's the money coming from? And if you can
Yeah.
kind of flow and you understand that logic, it's like it's I don't know, it takes a lot of the worry out of it because you're just like, who's meant to buy it? It's going to buy it, and we're going to grow and learn together, and it's going to be this beautiful process. But I feel like
Mm,
hard when usually when anybody starts an online business or a healing business, putting yourself out there, I feel like it's a learning process, and there's those blocks and our conditioning of the 3D that it's got to be your 9 to 5, you got to make money, you got to hustle, you got to grind, that you kind of have to work through. So it's always a process. It depends on, I feel like, where someone is on their journey with how much they've integrated and accepted and are operating from this, let's just see what's going to happen flow, because that can
yeah.
be, you like, I don't ever look at the long term. I mean, I'll see long term stuff come in. You're going to do this a few years out, you're going to do that a few years out, it's coming in, but it's not ready to actually like share yet. But I'm like, okay, what am I going to do, you know what I mean, long term? I
Mm.
flow in with whatever's coming in to do next.
Yeah, I do the same. I think I very much operate, and the way that we lead our clients sounds like the same as you. I just use my heart space and I just ask my team, like, what is my next step? And I only ever take 3 steps a day, and that's it. Anything else, they're like trying to get in on me. I'm like, no, fuck off. I have a boundary, and they are roll their eyes at me all the time, like, oh, here she goes again. But I'm like, no, I'm here to experience life. I'm here to be a mom. I'm here to be present with my children. I'm here to have fun. Yes, I'm here to serve and help you in my mission, but I have other priorities as well, and I'm not going to do it unless it brings joy or fun to me. And like you say, when you can remove yourself from the money, and I always say to people anyway, like I've had zero money when I first started this business over 10 years ago. So I know what it feels like to have nothing. And it was really fun back then. We made it really fun having no money. So when you do get money in and you're like, wow, I've got loads of money, and you got kids, your kids spend it all anyway, don't they? Like as a mom, you're like, I don't, apart from food, my children are just eating it and yo sushi, living up life on my money. So it means nothing to me, money. And I think when you are a multidimensional being, this 3D notion of money is kind of quite a strange concept for me. I don't know about you, Julie, but like I sometimes don't understand why humans get so like motivated by money. I'm just like I do I help people get money, obviously, because that's part of what we do, but I just don't automatically get it.
Yeah, I do know, and I feel the same way, but I feel like it's just the conditioning, a lot of it, because when I was in corporate America, I was getting the degrees. I was like, this is the way I'm going to do it, and I was miserable, like really miserable. My anxiety was out the roof, and I'm like, this is not the American dream. It's not happening.
Mm,
We have a couple of businesses. I work way less, and we make more now than we did when I was really trying to grind and hustle. So there's really something to, kind of letting go of and surrendering the expectations, trying to do it the 3D way, that
mm.
can make things happen way easier and way faster than I think the powers that be would like us to realize is possible to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's a lot of powers that be that try to keep us all limited. Well, the majority of the humans anyway. Fear is a big business, isn't it, in the 3D world? But I don't conform to much of what goes on in the 3D world, to be honest. I like you said, I keep myself in my own little rainbow bubble most of the time. You know, I'm surrounded by my cats, my children, my life, my plants, and my work and everything else that goes on. I don't really, I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't even see it. I know it's there. I have an awareness because people try and project, on social media, whatnot. But I'm like, I can't connect to that anymore. That energy just, it has no charge for me. It's like a nothingness, you know?
Yes, I 100% agree. A lot of times, like I don't really watch the news. I don't really pay attention to what's going on. I'll know a little bit, and I have a friend who kind of keeps up on all of that. And she's like, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, "You know me, no, but thanks for letting me know." I'm like, we're just doing our thing. I mean, I'm aware of something. I needed to be aware of it. You know what I mean? But I just don't feel like I have time. I can't resonate with it. Sometimes even galactic history or certain content, I can't even read it. Like it'll be a headache or it'll be a nope. And it'll like, I'll read the first line. That's it. Okay. So I really don't even follow like other channelers or other people. I'm kind of just really, my team, what information I'm getting and fun. Like, we homeschool, we have a lot of time with my daughter. It's just I love my dogs. Like I'm an animal person too. So I'm like
Mm.
kind of just in my own little space and I like it that way.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. And I always get the biggest eye roll, I think, that I get from other humans when I'm kind of like using big groups and an audience that don't quite know me is telling people not to consume content from other people. Of all the things I talk about online, I swear, I say some controversial things sometimes, not to get a reaction, but just because that's what comes through from my team. They want
Yeah.
me to like bring through controversial messages. But when I tell them, look, stop picking up books and stop consuming other people's content and stop following other people's ways and learn how to connect and get that information yourself, it'd be way more effective for you. And they're like, what the fuck is this woman on? Like, she is mental. Because
I,
I
I
think,
I operate from a very similar perspective. So I think it's a very good thing to be talking about and be sharing and be, telling people because there's also, things like black magic. There's things like hooks. There's things that is in some of those messages that are
mm,
specific put in there for not for the very, very nice purposes, but more nefarious type things. So, if you're just consuming other people's energy, information, content, you don't know how to properly clear your own energy or make sure that you're not picking anything up, you could just, there's all kinds of things that can be going on as to
mm,
why, you know what I mean? Why those people are sharing that stuff. There are some very beautiful people out there sharing very beautiful messages too. But I'm kind of with you. It's like if I see something and it's a nice little message, I can be like, oh, that's nice, but I usually never get to the end of it. I'm just like, I like the frequency of that or what that person's sharing, and then that's it. But I
yeah.
feel cloud us if we're not good at making sure our channel's clear. It can cloud ourselves. So it's better to, for me anyway, just to kind of like stay in my lane and not really consume tons of content.
Yeah, I agree. And like even when I'm working with my clients, when they ask me a question, I'm like, What is it that you think?" You know, I'm just literally, I say to them, like, I'm here to give you the tools so you can connect and you can do this work yourself. And one of my biggest missions my team want me to just share with you is basically to dissolve the codependency wound in the 3D. Obviously there are different ways we're going to be doing that, but I find in the coaching industry, especially, there are a lot of coaches that actually love to keep people with them because obviously they're a paycheck, right? Whereas I'm like, you know what, I prefer to work with you, give you everything you need within a couple of months, and then you are free to go and do your own thing. And I don't want to create codependency because I think especially within women as well, it feels like a lot of women are sold the story of, finding a prince, being on like taken care of. And I think it's one of those issues that self perpetuates, doesn't it, in the collective?
Yes, I totally agree. When I'm in session too, I also am like, okay, you read into this, see this, feel this, tell me what your higher self is telling us to do, go see whatever. So I always like to bounce things off, even if people aren't super open to receiving messages and maybe they can't see it. I'm like, well, then what does the energy feel like? Because I feel like when people look in themselves, it stretches them, but it's also really good for them to understand and see and feel the energies, because I can tell you all day long, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, I'm getting this. It doesn't necessarily land the same as when you're
Mm,
feeling it and sensing it, and it strengthens that connection to self. I'm a big advocate of, I'm here to guide, support, hold space, but at the end of the day it's your higher self that's going to guide you the best. So I'm talking to her, let's have you talk to her, and let's, or her, him, or whoever, and let's make sure you're also tapping in and connecting.
mm. Yeah, so important. I do the same. I just feel like say to my clients, look, you're on the ship. I'm just in the boat at the side, making sure that you don't get eaten by sharks or crash on the rocks, or if you do, I'm going to help you a little bit. But I always say that I'm like a side mirror. Now I just came to reflect the light and the tools and all the things that they need back to them, because I think a lot of humans have just forgotten who they are and where they come from, and how powerful they are. And I don't know about you, Julie, but it sometimes surprises me when I meet someone who's really gifted and they've not yet stepped into that power and they don't know. And you're like, how can you not know how powerful you are? It's a bit like, have you watched the film Jupiter Rising? I was guided to watch that not so
Yes.
long ago by my team. And she's like, she cleans toilets, she's a cleaner, yet she was like, royalty. And I was just like, I meet people like that, and I'm like, how can you not know? It staggers me.
Yeah, I feel like when we drop in, though, the amnesia can be really hard for people to work through, especially if they've had a lot of past lives that, they've blocked their connection.
Mm,
So I agree. Sometimes I'm like, you're like a huge council member, or you're a huge, person in the priestess orders, or, there's this amazing, creator being, creator dragon, and you're not, you don't understand or see it. And so I feel like it's definitely, we have some very powerful people here, and a lot of them know what they're here to do and who they are, but there's a lot of people who don't know. And it's amazing what you can remember, find out, and understand about yourself, through this work, through helping people see things through doing their own connections and stuff like that. So yeah.
mm. And I think one of the things you said you wanted to talk about, especially, was your connection to Andromeda and your galactic team. So I don't know whether you want to let's go cosmic. Should we go a bit cosmic, shall we, and bring it in?
My first I was getting my light language attunement, and I thought it was a dream where I went to Andromeda and I brought this crystal into the earth, and it was supposed to go in the earth grids, and I did this whole thing. And later I realized, because I wasn't sure, that I was still kind of opening up my gifts. Later I was working with a mentor to strengthen my spiritual gifts, and we went and explored that, and I actually had been in contact with, the Grand Council in Andromeda. I had done work in past lives, there. I had all of these memories coming in. There's a hall of records there. I had access to all of this information. And it's so cool, because a lot of people who come to me, we either train together or we have history in past lives, working there was a lot of history and memories from Andromeda. There was even this little pet that I've never seen here that came up to me, this little creature. And so I was like, can I keep this little creature as a spirit guide? Because I was, so so cute, and I've never seen anything like it. And so I was like, it was just a beautiful experience. Like the images, the things that came in, and it didn't really look super galactic or like space to me. It came in more as some of my like human ideas or thoughts, like rock formations that had meanings and certain things like that. So you'd probably think it was more of a galactic trip, while, the Andromedans were more galactic looking, and the conversations with them were like that. But there were also some human reminders of things that came in too. So it was definitely a very beautiful experience. And once I connected in with that galactic team, other galactic teams, and other, like my Palladian roots, like all kinds of other things came in. And all of us have these connections. All of us have certain star families we've spent a lot of time with, or we've trained with, or we've worked with, and I feel like, those understanding that and kind of connecting. And with that, as soon as you connect in with the first one, boom, all these other, people, beings, dragons, all these things start coming in masses, like, okay, let's talk now.
Yeah, I always say to people who are struggling to connect with their team, like, just be careful what you wish for, okay? Because once you start connecting, they won't fucking leave you alone. Then you have to start setting boundaries. Don't you? Like, I remember they used to like wake me up at, like, I don't know, any time of the day really, when I was working one to one with people. I don't do so much of that anymore, but they'd wake me up when someone needed me. And, when back then I was just like, I thought that was part of my role. But now I'm like, absolutely not. If I'm in dream space and I'm working in dream space, or I'm asleep because I'm resting, I'm rejuvenating, you do not wake me up with what anything. If the world is ending, I don't care. I'm resting. you
I like
know?
to. There's very few nights I don't sleep really well, but some nights when I do, I'm like, okay, this is for the birds. I can't do this. I'll be like up every hour, and I'm like, I don't. This is no. It's nighttime.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the door closed, lights turned off. No business hours.
Yeah, but you have to really go through this process, don't you? And the other thing, my team want to just speak into a bit is around resistance. So I think a lot of humans think that all you've got to do is, start doing something to connect with your team. Follow some steps, for example. But I say to them, well, how are you feeling in your 3D reality? What is going on in relationships? What is going on with your eyes? What can you see? What can you feel? Because if you've got resistance around you and you're feeling shit or stress, these beings are not going to be want to be around you. Like, call it frequency or energy, but they will literally run a mile. Like the fairies, for example, like they are so light and playful and fun and technical and all the things, but they will run a mile from humans who are being like too angry or too deep in their trauma. And I just say, like, you need to clear up this like 3D stuff before you start connecting. And I don't know whether you see this in your work as well.
Yeah, I feel like, definitely, clear up what you can, clean up what you can. And also, like, the fear of connecting in with something that's scary comes up a lot. Like they're going to see something or feel something, that they don't want to see. And it's like, I always say, like, you're only going to be given what you're ready for,
Mm.
so you're not going to connect in with like some super scary, like crazy looking monster looking creature if that's not what you're ready for. You'll connect in with the angels and your guides and your team. So, don't take the fear out of it. If you're afraid at all, then just work on breath work, meditation, some of the more basic things, before you kind of are diving into, let's go explore, past lives, my teams, my, origin, all of that stuff, because you're going to
Mm.
probably things that aren't super comfortable if you're going in the deep end.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of people are just diving into stuff and they don't really know what they're doing. They're asking questions about traveling in astral, or they're asking questions about their soul origins, and not really knowing how to process what comes up, or staying safe, or cleaning their energy. Like,
Yeah.
again, I find it shocking that a lot of humans don't know that they have to clean their energy. I'm like, how you shower in 3D. How can you not know that's a thing? So I feel like we're really here as cosmic beings to really help the 3D people transcend and evolve into cosmic beings. I feel like that's what like one of our missions is. Would you resonate with that as well?
I do, and I feel like too there's also things that happen a lot where people think something outside of them is attacking them, and it's actually their shadow. So
Mm.
and in your ego and your shadow also play a role when you're looking into things, or when you're working with energy, looking at your, higher dimensional stuff, it's sometimes it's not external. Sometimes it's your own fear and it's your own shadow that's coming into play. And so you may feel like there's something outside of you trying to attack you, but really it's this internal battle going on. And you just have to accept that part of yourself that you're resisting accepting. So I feel like a really good, I always call it my baseline, like make sure you have a good baseline where you're not being swayed by anything internally first. You know what I mean? And then yes, cleaning your energy, yes, shielding. If you're going to go play around in areas that probably aren't the best to just leave footprints, your energetic footprint all over the terrain up there, then, understand how to shield, like get a little more advanced with your practices. But yeah, I would say like the shadow coming in has been one of the biggest things I've seen that people have misunderstood, and that's what it was.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally. And I always say to people, like, whatever you believe is the case, is the case. That's the thing. Our brains are very wired to keep us in a state which is safe, and oftentimes it can create things that aren't really there anyway. So that's why we always like are connecting with our heart space and learning how to use our bodies as the tool, like the technical tool. Like so many humans are looking outside of them for these answers, and nature is a beautiful way of getting answers, obviously, as is other people. But we are sitting in something so sophisticated as our human body, right? And people forget that we are actually the access point. We are the portal. We are the, like, the technology. And that again I find crazy, that trying to educate people and guide people, like, that you need to listen to your body and your heart, and be in alignment, and switch off what everyone else is saying, because they're usually just projecting through their own traumas and their own shadow, like how you say it. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I say that a lot too. Like we're here to be in the physical body, so you can't leave your physical body behind. Like, good nutrition. I know my channel's a lot clearer when I'm, eating healthier foods and like grounding ourselves into our body. I feel like is forgotten a lot. We have solar activities, we have, things going on, we have other people's energy. If you're not, used to kind of not absorbing what's around you. And so yeah, I feel like a lot of people forget that, like the body is really important. Like we're very, very sophisticated. I mean, yes, we can do all this stuff in the higher dimensions, but it's like we can clear out like lifetimes of trauma that may still be sitting in ourselves too. So, don't forget about the body. It's definitely important. I feel like too, it's easier, I think, in the beginning to like asking, okay, where do I feel this in my body? Or,
Mm,
okay, where can I color this spot on my body that I need to focus on now? And then it takes a lot of the guesswork, or, trying to figure out maybe the messages, because a lot of time messages come in metaphors. So
mm,
you might see, a bird or a spider, but that's really has nothing to do with what it means. You got to feel into it. What are you trying to tell me?
yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes humans get a bit trapped in labeling their gifts as well. I don't know what your opinion is on this, Julie, but I find that the more that you label yourself as being like clairsentient, clairaudience, all the clairs, I feel like you really start to see yourself as a human with gifts. Whereas really, when you just accept that the messages are going to be infinite, and the gifts are going to be infinite, and we don't even know really our full capability. I don't believe, as we move through into this cosmic way of being, if you start using these words to explain what you are, I feel like that in itself limits your expansion.
I agree, because I feel like there's other places we were levitating and we were doing things that are so-called superhuman here. And there's people that I've, can like make water run down walls. There's people that can do some pretty amazing things here. So I agree with you when you start limiting and being like, okay, well, I can use these clairs. It's like, but what else can you do? Like, what else can you use? How else can you tap in? Maybe there's a thing that they haven't named yet that you're using that is even better than all of the so-called clair gifts. I 100% agree with you with that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I mean, we do like soul origin readings, a lot of humans are interested in that. And things come through on these readings that we do for people. But just being your presence is usually enough without
Yes.
actually having to do anything, right? Your
Yeah.
frequency, the way that you smile, the way that you use your eyes. And I think that people sometimes think that they need to do something, but sometimes just being around somebody's energy is actually enough to transmute.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And sometimes people just want to be heard, which is, totally understandable and understood. And, I mean, a lot of people throw around, the victim word. Well, you're stuck in victim consciousness or victim mindset or this or that. And it's like, but are you showing people another way? Because I'm always like a solution person. It's like, if this is where you are, how are we going to get you to, to the next step and the next step and the next step? Because all of us have been to the, the throes of the worst step. So,
Mm,
while there are levels and hierarchies in this, and I feel like that's another thing I don't understand, where everyone's like, we're all the same, we're all one. And I'm like, but I wouldn't go to a mechanic to like have my energy cleared. So we're kind of all different. So it's like, and I love that, because thank goodness there are people who are, more advanced than me, that I can be like, hey, like you said, the side mirror, hey, I need a side mirror view of this. Am I
yeah.
thinking this? So I feel like, that's another, I don't know, another one of those controversial, huge misconceptions, I feel like, in the spiritual community.
Yeah, I don't buy into all that we are one bullshit either. I actually find it a little bit sickening, if I'm honest. Like when I
Yeah,
read it, it's like when people say, "Oh, love and light to you," but actually they want to stab you in the eye. I'm like, it's bullshit, isn't it? Like stop masking, stop pretending, and just we aren't all one, like you say. We've all been through different things as well. Got different experiences. We've had different traumas. We've got different gifts, and we're not meant to be. We're a unique blueprint in this cosmic realm. That's what we are. But we're just in these human bodies trying to navigate,
absolutely.
which is crazy, isn't it? It is crazy when you think about it. My team send me all kinds of random visions when I'm talking. So sometimes I just see these visions and then I'm laughing because I'm like this, like, just alien looking thing in a big human meat suit, like flying through space. And it just makes me laugh. Anyway, I do that a lot, make myself laugh.
Yeah, I love, sometimes I see that too. I'll see alien origins in people, like at restaurants or something, and they walk by, you're like, oh my gosh, you're a mantis. Oh my gosh, you're this. And you're like trying not to, laugh, because it's not a bad thing. It's really cool. But it's like, I always think, I'm like, do you know that you really look like your origin? Or do you not, you have no clue. So, yeah,
No,
I
they
can,
don't. They don't have it. Yeah, I do the same thing. I can sometimes see like horns on people, and like I can see their gifts. I can see their past lives. I can see how much time they've got left here as well. That was something new that my team showed me recently, like a almost like a speech bubble above their head that showed me how much life force they've got left. That was a bit bizarre. I was just like, whoa, I'm hallucinating. Whoa, this is trippy, guys. When you can actually see it with your eyes. And it's funny because if this would have happened in my 20s, I think I would have thought I was going crazy. I think I'm glad that it happened a bit later in life, where I kind of got out of my partying days and got
yeah,
sober and stopped using stuff. Because otherwise I think I probably would have been locked up by now by what I see and what I experience. Or maybe I should be.
yeah,
But it's funny, isn't it? I always say to people, listen, if I get locked up, you make sure you come with me, because then we can at least have some amazing conversations about this stuff.
there you go. Well, at least have fun there.
Yeah, oh my God, so much fun. So I feel like we could speak for like weeks and weeks, Julie, about all the stuff that we need to speak about, and but I know that I really want to get through like how people can contact you and get to know what you're more about. And you said you've got a womb healing workbook portal to heaven. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you actually offer to people.
Okay, so yeah, it's on Amazon, Portal to Heaven, opening up your magic with womb healing. It is all of the things I learned along the way in my healing journey. So there's a 21-day roadmap where you can kind of get started on meditation, stretching, anything womb healing related. It's heavily focused on how to tap into your own gifts with practices, how to connect in. So I kind of wanted, when I started my healing journey, I found energy work. I found this. I found that. I found the nervous system stuff, but I found it in all different chunks at different times. And so I kind of wanted to put everything in one spot, so someone would have everything, so they could kind of just start from scratch if need be, or strengthen their spiritual journey. So that's on Amazon. The Kindle's 99 cents. It's 14.99 for the paperback. And then I offer my new healing group I just created, and my single sessions, so people can contact me. Facebook is my biggest platform, but I'm my link tree has everywhere I am. I have a lot of free meditations on YouTube. People can check out if they want. So yeah.
Wow, beautiful. And it's your dragon group, isn't it? My team just want to bring through the fact that it's a dragon group, because I think we're going to have people are going to be interested in different aspects, but I think especially the dragons. And I think more people are becoming more and more interested in dragons, because I don't know about you, but they're starting to show themselves a bit more in the clouds and actually in the sky, and people are actually taking photos of them now and sharing them and going, oh my god, this looks like a dragon. And I'm like, oh my god, finally everybody's looking at the sky to see these beings that have been there since whenever. I used to, I don't know about you, but I've always been the kind of kid that would lie on my back and look at the sky.
Me too. Yeah, it's the year of the dragon too. So this 2024 is the year of the dragon. So I feel like it's definitely an uptick in people seeing and connecting in. And I feel like we all have a dragon, at least one with us. So, it's
Mm.
something everybody can connect in with. So I'm really excited about that group. I actually was a past life clearing that turned into a collective clearing that turned into a creator dragon, is why the group was created. So a new creator,
Ah,
and she was
you
just like, you got to do this. And then all these other dragons came in, and they were like, okay, we're coming in too. And I was like, all right, let's do this.
so you were the one that created this year. That's what
Yes.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Wow, that's very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Super
what's
excited.
next for you? What else have you got planned? Have you got like a course planned for people, or what have you got on the books?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do some in-person classes at a local healing studio that is kind of lined up around the womb healing book. And then kind of diving into teaching the Akashic records. There's a timeline course with some like past life and soul fragment retrieval I'm working on. So I'll be releasing, more this year for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it feels like you're gonna go through this amazing growth process this year. I feel like so much dragon energy around you, and a lot of fae as well, which is always a beautiful mix to have dragons and faes together. I've got one child, the eldest child is a dragon of origin, like one of her main origins, and the other one's a fairy. So like I am surrounded by so many, like two almost like opposing energies, although when they're mixed together, they're a really beautiful mix. But that's what I sense around you, like so much dragon and fairy energy. It's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, those are the I connect with both of those a lot. So
Yeah, okay, well that makes sense. Don't worry, I sense it. Beautiful. So is there anything else you want to share with the listeners, the watchers, the readers, Julie? Anything that you want to share as a message, maybe collectively?
I feel like just, don't give up, and keep reaching, keep showing up as your authentic person, and whatever it is you're here to do. All of the systems have to be replaced. So maybe you're an accountant, you're going to fix some of the, financial systems. Like, don't ever think because maybe you're not spiritual, or you're not this or that, that your mission is not all to support and help, and, you know, you recreate a better place than what we're in, because it's definitely meant to elevate, especially in the next few years. So I feel like, don't if you're drawn to something, and you're like, you watch somebody do something, you're like, man, that's really cool, it's probably because you're here to do the same thing, or you've done something similar in a past life. So go after those those things that light you up.
Beautiful. My team just want to add it's probably because you're already doing it on another timeline as well, you know. And
Absolutely.
a lot of people forget that what you're thinking about or what you're being pulled to, you've already done, created. You're just bringing it into this timeline, this reality. And that's the
Yeah.
exciting thing, right?
Yeah.
Just doing what you've already done. So that's why it feels familiar. It's just
Uh,
finding the easiest. Well, I say easiest, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
not. We use the word in the spiritual realm, we use the word ease with kind of a little bit of caution, don't we? Because ease may mean uh, a whole plethora of things. But we know what we mean, right? I always say be careful what you wish for because the answer is always yes, whatever it is. So we had
Correct.
to sorry about that. I had to tell my cat off. She only
Oh,
responds to light language. So apologies. She was trying to claw my curtains, naughty thing. What are you doing, Angel? Sorry, she looks like I've told her off now. She's like that. But she doesn't listen to English language. Beautiful. Thank you for being here, everybody. A special thanks to you, Julie. I love connecting with people on this level, you know, having these conversations and being able to just connect with someone who just gets this work is incredible. So, like, a massive thank you for the work that you're doing. And, you know, you're one of these people that are here to create and educate and bring these humans up to the cosmic level that they already should be at. You know, so we thank you for your work here. It's absolutely truly incredible, so thank you so much. And the dragons are just wanting to appreciate you as well. They're like breathing fire on me. I'm like, okay, I'll tell her. Shh. Ease dragons. So thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners and our readers and our watchers. And I'm just going to press stop on this, Julie. Then we'll have a quick chat.
okay. Did you hit stop?
No, I didn't. Go on.
Okay. No. For
Oh,
after.
you want me to stop? Okay.